What is up, duelists? This is Dimitri. I won RBET Rulers, and I figured I would go over my replays for you all. So, finally bringing content. This is my first replay, round 1, against Ill Thunder 15. I think he has a different name in the Discord. It might be Mick Thunder, something like that. So, as always, RPS, very important. I won a lot of them this tournament. That's how you get that advantage. Very simply, when I open Legacy of Yada, it's what I want to be setting turn 1 so that if they have MST or Heavy Storm, they could waste it into that. If they're some other way of popping, maybe Lila, right? They don't get any value. Hamster, going along with it, very defensive card, very great protection. I feel like it's a very straightforward turn 1 to want to have monster that really protects me and back row then that can give me the plus there. So I'm totally fine with all of this happening. Going into this turn, there's a lot of ways to play this, I think. I went for popping the monster. I wanted to out a spark if there was one, and I felt like the future fusion wasn't a big threat, and the back row didn't really have anything to hit based on the stuff in my hand. So I think it makes sense to hit the alias here and just try and run him out of monsters slowly. We go for the slow play of setting everything because I don't really have great value off the Armageddon Knight yet. So really I think I'll just be able to sort of see what my next few draws are to decide what sort of direction that I want to be going with these cards. Sort of reacting to both him and my next few turns, and there's no hurry in any way. Hero Beat is able to make up tempo problems pretty well, so I can't put him in that kind of pressure at the moment. So I go for the Legacy of Yada because I want to see whether or not I can draw into something that can easily get me over the Stratos so that I can switch who's putting on pressure, and it doesn't. I don't know if I needed to do it then, but I do think having more cards earlier so that I know what I want to use them for is good at a point where it's likely he's not going to randomly hit that legacy. So I just go for the slow play of setting things. I think this is a very solid way to play it. You expect him to summon something alongside the Strato, so it makes sense to add the Mirror Force to that back row. And a nice little +1. Now this is interesting, right? The main phase 2 Miracle Fusion means that when he attacks in, right, I'll eventually get to a Raikou off this hamster that will be able to pop the Absolute Zero, but I don't really want to be flipping up my hamster into it because then I take damage. So for now, again, I'm in the position of having to take the very slow route against him. Sort of been on a back foot in a sense, but not really a back foot in the like wanting to be able to go faster or taking on damage, just not being able to put on pressure. So finally I get my first chance to pressure some here. Set monster and hero beat, it's likely Snowman Eater. It could be Jujitsu Master because of the Prisma, right? So he sent a Prisma off Future Fusion, which implies to me that there's some level of Dark Calling in this build. So maybe a big piece Golem, a Malicious Fiend, or Malicious Edge. I think it's the level 7 that you send. Yeah, Malicious Fiend is the one you reveal. He said there is no prio. There is, but I think if you prio Prisma Send, it doesn't work because he has to be able to get the name for the card to send. I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% on Prisma rulings, but I know it does not work as the card reads in Edison format. Yeah. Early on, right, I had this decision with Allure, I believe. No, No, I think that was next game. But I ended up here having the decision, right, of whether to make the Icarus play or the Grefker play with it, with this Vayu. And I think because of the amount of time I know I have still, I'm fine holding the Greffer. So I go for the Icarus. I want to clear out all the back row that I can in order to be able to be aggressive without any hindrances because I have the Burial, I've got the Vayu that will be in the grave live, and I have a banished Vayu, so it's already 3 big monsters plus the Grepher. So I really just want to clear that back row. Try and push through a lethal shot, maybe. The other thing is this protects against my body doing it this way. I'm not playing Solemn in this build. I'll probably be speaking to that on um Keegan's video that he'll have with me. The reason is I see so many games get lost because of paying the life points for Solemn, and there's so many other cards that can fill that spot better, basically. So notice here, because he's so low, it's a lot easier in the end for me to get that damage to kill him. I set the Grepher because I just want to wall up in case he has like heavy plus a normal summon. I don't want to just randomly die. And the Grepher isn't too necessary at this point. There's some argument to not attacking with the Grepher because it's likely to be like another Snowman Eater or something. The oppression, you definitely oppression there so that you avoid my body and get rid of the honest. But here it's just beat down under oppression. That's all it is. Go for the heavy into the lethal play. Very straightforward. That was a real case of just like slowly out advantaging over time with this deck. We get into a little rulings argument discussion about knock. Knock online, you do not reveal the deck. In person, you do. So the reason you don't online is because when they're um, able to look through your deck, they can screenshot the entire thing and then get perfect knowledge of it, and that's not what's intended. So even though I get Mirror Force for 2, I still went like parity at worst because I managed to hamster Raiko Caius there. So Raiko popped one, Caius popped one, meaning that those 2 cards traded for 3 essentially. So it ended up being a +1 for me. Here I was a little surprised. I was kind of terrified actually because he had so much back row removal that I thought I was dead. But because he was only able to have back row removal and didn't have like the 1 extender he would need, I guess 2 extenders because he doesn't have quite enough there. I ended up being fine. But it was definitely a moment where I could have been sacked. So it's that getting low on life points is very dangerous in this format. Here, Mirror Force is already gone, and I do really want that Catastor down and him not to have time to draw into one of his few comeback mechanisms, like Miracle. So it ended up being a pretty straightforward match, that first one. I will be covering all of them. They get more interesting as we go. Please subscribe if you want more of this kind of content. I will be making videos a lot more regularly, coming up with new ideas and stuff, and hopefully improving all of your gameplay over time. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you have questions about in terms of build or play, and I'll try and cover them in a future video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.